Okay, here we are. Welcome, race fans. Welcome into Race Fan Heaven. Thank you for joining us. I am Race Fan Rick, and we are joined by my co-host, Mandy. Mandy, oh, hang on a second. I got something special for you, Mandy. Hold on.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Hold on. You ready? You ready?
Yes.
We're joined by, hold on. We're joined by our co-host, Mandy.
That's amazing.
And
Yay!
also today special, we are joined. She's not on camera, and it's not because she's not the most beautiful woman in the world, because she is. But Mandy Rhonda is here, and I have a studio situation that doesn't allow her to get on cam, but she's right here with us.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, you know what, babe?
Thank you. The crowd goes wild.
I know. We are here post Indy 500. We just got done watching Indy an hour or so ago.
And I just got done with the media press conferences.
And we did press conferences. We have information everywhere. We're going to talk about the Indy 500 because it was awesome. And
yes.
we're gonna talk a whole lot about details in a minute. This is the Race Fan Heaven Show. Please follow us if you're watching this. Follow us at Race Fan Heaven on Twitter, at Race Fan Heaven on Facebook. You can follow Mandy. Tell them both, Mandy, because I get them wrong. It's
Mandy CTV on Twitter.
Right.
And then Instagram is just my name, Mandy Curry.
Okay, CURI.
Sorry, guys.
MANDY CURI.
CURI. Yes,
Got it.
Yes.
And we have at RaceFan Rick is my personal or my racing Twitter, at RaceFan Rhonda with an H. Follow all of us. Go to our website too, racefanheaven.com. Sign up for our email list. We got all kinds of good stuff coming for you. Okay, promo's done. Let's talk about Indy. Takuma Sato wins his second Indy 500. Oh, I got to do that again. I'm liking this.
Oh my gosh, push the button.
Wins his second Indy 500, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
What a day, huh? Really
what
good
a day. He was,
and
I'll tell you about it in the press conference, how humble and how lucky he
Sure.
feels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But he really, it was kind of an interesting race because
yes,
he was top 5 all day, but you didn't really, at least on the TV coverage. Now, I know it's probably different on radio. They're a little more detailed, but on TV, it was kind of like, oh, Sato's top 5, but you didn't, it was all Dixon and Rossi.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden at the end, there's Takuma, and he's faster than Dixon. So we'll get into that stuff as well. But we're going to talk mostly about the race. I do want to talk about the pre-race, though.
yes.
Because it is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It is COVID year, unfortunately, where everything is wacky and weird. And obviously, number one, we're not on Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, number two, no fans, which was very odd.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being there. It must have been just so strange, There just wasn't fans.
Yeah.
No noise.
Right. I will say something though. And I've been doing, while I've been away, I've been, attending all these Zoom media press conferences, and everybody, by the way, I didn't ask the drivers this because everybody, there's always that person that asks, what's it like not having fans? So every driver answered it.
Yeah.
It gets old, but let me tell you, it's not the first time they haven't had fans, and they're not absolutely
not the
all
first
of them
race this year.
Right. And absolutely they love having the fans, don't get them wrong, but at the same time they're getting so accustomed to it, and really they want everyone to be safe, so they understand it. So
sure.
it's not like, oh, they feel it. They just said it's a little weird.
I think it's more weird for us watching on TV.
It's more weird. Yeah, but they just said it's a little bit strange. But when you get in that car, nothing else matters. So
once you're in the car,
So even if it's a regular race, they're like, we don't really pay attention to all that because we're so focused. So it's not that big of a stretch. And I'm not trying to belittle it. I'm just trying to say that in this situation, the drivers are just like, well, it is what it is. I
think it was more, like I say, I think it was more weird for us.
It's
like during
weird.
the pre-race and the like normally when you hear back home in Indiana, there's all the crowd noise and the cheering, and there's, the balloons and all that stuff that normally would be there wasn't there. So it was just odd. Different.
And I will tell you, Takuma Sato did tell us in the press conference, the weirdest thing was, when they do the driver intros, when they do the driver intros, it's such a big deal. They hype you up. And he said it was so weird. You're coming out there and you're getting hyped up, but nobody's there.
Right,
It's like,
that was probably, for them, that was probably the most weird part, because that's a big part of Indy coming through pit lane, through the garage area. All the people and the cheering and all that. And I was watching a lot of the pre-race during like Carb Day, and they did a lot. IndyCar and NBC, I'll give them a quick shout out. They did a tremendous job this year with their promotion and their pieces, and they had all this, the videos and all those different things. And they did a great job. And one of them, I think it was Marco or somebody, said, that's going to be the weirdest thing for the day for us, is that we don't have that there's not that energy when we show up, and I'm sure all pro athletes are going through that right now. You got NBA playing in front of no crowds, and to not have the cheering and all that is just really a different thing. And they had to deal with that big today, because Indy's the biggest event and the most energy that they ever have in one place.
Right.
So it was odd.
It was weird for me to see the stands empty.
Yeah.
It
It's just
weird.
different. It's different.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job. All week I was thinking, what are they going to do? Because, Indy is so much different than any other race as far as the pre-race ceremonies and how all the traditions and the marching bands and the, the balloons and the singing the songs and all those things that they do, that I was wondering, well, what are they, how are they going to pull this off? How are they going to do this and not be, not look really strange?
Oh, it was awesome.
And they did a really, really good job. They did a really good job, I thought.
They did a fantastic job.
And the pre-race pieces were awesome. That piece that was going around all week with the winning drivers watching themselves win back in the day. Was, to see Parnelli Jones, who's a rough, tough old guy, had seen it all, done it all, and he's watching that win and his lip is quivering. It's just a really cool thing.
I watched another guy's lip quivering today.
Which lip was that?
That would be yours when they started the pre-race.
I cried.
Oh, Rick, did you really?
As soon as they start.
Oh, that's so sad.
During the pre-race, I get weepy and I think about all those.
Do you do that every
to watch them?
Every race, every Indy 500?
Mostly
do you
Indy.
do that? No, that's what I mean. Indy 500, every Indy 500, do you cry?
Every year. Yep, the military ceremonies, and I get choked up, and it was really neat. It was really neat.
I love
and then
it.
The other thing I thought that was really cool was Mr. Penske's Start Your Engines.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because this is the first year in 75 years that a member of the Holman family did not, say, drivers, start your engines, because they've owned it for that long. And Mr. Penske bought it, and everybody was wondering, well, who's going to say it? And he should say it. And what is he going to say? And I thought he did a really nice job of, giving a tribute to the Holman family for, the 75 years of leadership that they gave to the track and all that. And then for him to give the command, I thought was really cool too. So that worked out really well, I think, too.
I thought it was really cool when the drivers were in the stands at their seats of their regulars.
Was good too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yep, that was really cool.
And how about the drivers yesterday going to go visit all the fans? And so I'm not going to talk bad. I don't talk bad about any series or anything, but I saw someone mention something on Twitter, and they were like, well, it's nice that the IndyCar drivers are actually showing their appreciation and not just talking about it. So I thought that was, but you also have to know that, to be fair though, you have to be safe. So they have to do it safe
course.
and socially distanced. So,
Of course.
but anyway, not to, but it's so great.
Some of
to
those drivers,
see
I
that.
just take my chances if they walked up, quite honestly.
You would just jump them. You
Mask
wouldn't care.
or no mask.
You wouldn't care.
Rhonda.
Oh my God. We won't mention any names.
We won't.
No, but again, no, you didn't see that in any other series.
That's what I was going to say is that,
Right?
that
I mean, I'll call them out. I mean,
it was touching.
it was very,
Mhm.
and
It's
of course,
very touching.
and again, Indy's different. I mean, there's people,
different.
those people that have lived near the track for decades, and
Yeah.
people that have sat in the same
Mhm.
seat for literally decades, year
That's
after year after year.
crazy.
They deserve that tribute. and that
How
shout
about
out.
the one who had the tree house? That was
that was cool.
That was pretty amazing.
During the race?
Yeah.
I want to buy
That's
that
way
house.
cool.
We need to buy that house.
I want to buy the
I
house
know.
that backs
We need
up
to-
to the track and just live there.
Yeah, that's
Did you
what I want
see
to do
it?
at Coda. I'm like,
Yeah, right?
I'm just like, sign me up. I just
Yeah.
want to. I want to
It's
wake up
hot
to
at
hear the
Coda.
car noises. That's what I want. I want to. That's my
You
wake
just
up.
want to
call.
wake up and hear that every day.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would be okay. I would be so happy.
Yep. That was way cool. So all the
Yes.
pre-race stuff was really neat. It really
Very
was.
cool.
And
Very
I just
cool.
want to give a shout out to, the Penske organization, IndyCar. They did such a fabulous job in this
did.
situation that was so different than they've been dealing with in the past. So great. So let's see. We started the race with the big deal was Marco Andretti won the pole, which was great.
Right.
Everybody was thrilled that Marco won the pole. And then the other
Exactly.
cool pre-race thing was the IndyCar two-seater for the pace laps,
Mhm.
where Mario
Right.
drove, Michael was in the back seat, and then of course
Yes.
Marco was
Yeah,
in the
that
field.
was
So it was 1, 2, 3.
That
So
was
that
awesome.
was a neat deal.
That's cool.
Unfortunately, after the flag dropped,
Man.
Marco dropped as well. It just wasn't. We saw something on Carb Day. He was fast all practice, top of the charts,
Right.
almost all the practices.
And during quali,
Qualifying, boom, fastest. Expected to
Right.
get the pole, got the pole, beat Scott Dixon. Everything was awesome. And then Carb Day comes along, and no, not so fastest anymore. And that was a precursor of what happened. Somehow they
Right.
missed between quali and the race, their setup, and he didn't go like to the back of the pack, but he just
stayed.
slowly moved back, unfortunately, and there you go.
And and then he ultimately finished. I have it right here. Sorry, guys. Normally have it all together, but we're doing this
13th,
right
I
after.
think.
Yeah, 13th. We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
13th. There you go.
that was too bad. I mean, Marco winning today would have been huge.
That would have been fun.
That would have been really cool.
I was really rooting for him just because
just
he's
because.
had. Well,
Because of
and
the
let me tell you.
situation.
Well, can I tell you guys too? Going through these media press conferences and everything, when he got pole, all the drivers that to hear Dixon, to hear Joseph, to hear every single driver talk about how happy they are for Marco Andretti to get pole,
Mhm.
and that it's so well deserved. And I know there are a lot of Marco haters out there. I am not one of them because I don't hate on any driver, and I certainly don't hate on him. But he needed something like this, right? He needed the
Right.
pole to kind of be like, I'm back. I'm here. I'm still
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
And but just to, like I said, just to hear even Rossi and Hinch and Connor Daly just talk about no one deserves this more than him, and it is, so everybody was so happy for him. So the poll, at least he had the poll, but it was good. It was good in the IndyCar community to even have. And did you guys see the Penske drivers? It was Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Helio when he got pole, and they were like,
yeah.
I mean, that's. You would never see that in Formula One.
Yeah, I love that with Indy, with the drivers. I love that.
Well, and I don't know if you
great.
guys saw also. I'm gonna stick up for Marco here too. And Marco, if you're a new IndyCar fan, you probably don't know this. Us that have been watching a long time know. But Marco came up through the ranks. He was an Andretti, so of course he came up through the ranks very quickly. Drove his first Indy 500 when I think he was either 18 or 19. He just turned 19. Finished second, almost won the very first one that he entered. And it was like, it's unbelievable. This is the next Andretti. It's going to be unbelievable. He's going to win multiple 500s and championships. And that just never happened. And he's run, unfortunately, especially the last 5 or 6 years, mid-pack at best. So he's taken a lot of heat. But my point to saying all that as a precursor is that, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a clip on Twitter Graham Rahal, who is also the son of a famous race car driver. His dad won the 500 and won championships.
Correct. Sorry, I have to keep.
Was on little adjustment. He was on a local, I think it was an Indy, a local news show, interviewed after qualifying. And he said, they asked him about Marco winning the pole. And he looked at the reporter. He said, you guys have no idea how hard it is to be Marco Andretti. He said, your grandfather was a famous, unbelievable driver. Your father was a famous, unbelievable driver. So if you make a mistake or you don't live up to what everybody thinks you're supposed to live up to, Graham said, I sat with him in press conferences where people would literally say to him, what do you think about the fact that you're, ruining the family name and not upholding the family name? And he said, you guys have no idea how hard it is to be Marco, and this is a really good thing for him. So
exactly.
I felt that made me feel good. And the other thing today that I liked, and we don't know Marco, like drivers do and all that, but we've been around him, and he's very, very quiet and almost aloof. You don't see him a lot. Other drivers will hang around and shoot the bull sometimes, and he's gone. You don't see him. Mm-hmm. And you would think he's, kind of a jerk. No, but he's really not. He's actually quite shy, and he doesn't say a lot. And today in the pre-race, in the interview on NBC, when they talked to him, I was very, I won't say amazed, but I was very inspired by what he had to say. They asked him about a lot of that kind of stuff, and he was very upfront about it. And he said, I'm me. He said, away from the racetrack, I know who I am. But he said at the racetrack, it's a little different, and I don't even know that I'm doing it, but I'm so focused on racing that I don't really think about being an Andretti or anything else. So, it is hard to be, it would be like playing high school basketball and you're Michael Jordan's kid.
Right.
Why aren't you the best? Why aren't you winning all these, mm-hmm. championships? Why aren't you going to the NBA when you're 19? Pick any way you want to say it. So it was really good for Marco. And I think that was, unfortunately, he didn't run well today or as well as he would like, but it was a really good thing for him to be on the pole. And it was a great thing for IndyCar, I think, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's talk about the race.
Let's talk about the race.
Turn 1, lap 1, Scott Dixon goes, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally went outside of Marco and said, see ya.
That's it.
Yep. And took off from there, and he really dominated the first 2/3 of the race. I mean, up to about lap 150. Now he had. I mean, the race. There was a lot of things going on. Obviously, the Dixon took off and led, but he didn't take off by 10 seconds and lead like an F1 race. No, I hate to say that, but he was only up. He was up by a half a second over. Marco for a while, and then it was, Rossi was up in there, and there was various drivers, but he never really checked out. People were close to him.
Right.
And, but in the pack, the racing was incredible.
It was.
I mean, from like 2nd, 3rd, 20th, 15th, all the way back through the back. I mean, it was awesome.
So I just want to say something too. So before we go into so Dixon took off, and then we have our first incident on lap 3, which was Ed Carpenter. Remember he hit the wall?
Yeah, that was sad.
And that was, okay. And Ed Carpenter is on the radio blaming Veach, but I'm sorry, but you were going for a gap that wasn't there. The gap was right here behind Veach.
He shouldn't have been out there.
Guys, it was like that big.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
In the short shoot, between turns where you don't really do much anyway. And cars are going to drift out there, and it's lap 3. And I think Ed, it's the heat of the moment too. I think Ed, upon reflection in his mind, probably saw the replay and went, I shouldn't have been out there. I should have just
I think so.
Let him go, especially that early.
Oh, that's so disappointing for him. My gosh.
Yeah, but it is disappointing. I mean, Ed Carpenter is a huge fan favorite. And
he is a huge fan favorite.
His whole thing is to win the Indy 500,
Right. Well, yeah. And then he did that, and that was kind of weird. Yeah, I was just, I remember thinking, like, what just happened? I was just like, what are you doing with Veach? Like, it just, there was no room.
Yeah.
And then so then that happened, and then lap 6, James Davidson, that wheel that was on fire, was that not crazy?
The most strange
what was that
I had ever seen. I would love to know the details of that. I hope we find out
Right.
later.
I think we will.
But
I could
literally,
obviously,
it was as if the brakes were locked, and it just, the rotor got so hot that the actual wheel exploded and
It
came
looked
apart.
like a movie. It really did look like a movie.
It did.
It did. It was
It looked like a
crazy.
fireball. It was like
Yeah.
this crazy fireball, and I was like, "What is going
If it
on
weren't
with his
if
wheel?"
it weren't dangerous, I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah.
You
No, it
know,
totally
if
was
it weren't
cool. Yeah, well,
dangerous,
yeah.
this looked really cool.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it was
but
a
then-
very odd. I've
it was so crazy.
all the decades, and I'm old, so I've been watching a lot of races. Never seen that happen. Never seen that
The
happen.
announcer said
Right.
the same thing.
Yeah.
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 Everybody was like,
Yeah.
"What was that?"
What is going on?
Yeah. So that's a
got
bummer
a-
when your day ends that early.
Oh yeah.
And
So
it's out of
that
your
wasn't
control.
good.
Yeah. So there was that.
So there was that. And then we have to
Um,
talk about. I was so sad. Marcus Ericsson hitting that wall.
Yeah. That was a bit
He
odd.
was-
Also.
Well,
You know-
well, we're gonna find out that was that turn 2. We're gonna find out. So that happened, and then he wasn't the first one. I believe later Rossi hit the same turn. I think it was turn 2. Was it Rossi that hit that? But
Yeah.
some other ones, and this turn 2 was just like. It was like marked as like
Yeah.
one that it was like that's the turn. Everyone's gonna go hit the
I
wall
don't know
on
if it
them.
was a wind thing or because it
Well,
was windy on one of the times when they were showing the pagoda and they were up there with Danica and Mike
Yeah.
Tirico and all that. It was windy. The wind was
windy.
blowing.
It was windy. But I was really sad for Marcus because, he has been consistently doing well this season with Chip Ganassi.
Yeah.
And, and he was feeling a little bit more confident and feeling better because this is second oval. And then, last time, I don't know if you remember, but last year he had the incident in the pit row, which ended his Indy 500.
Right.
So
Sure.
he had bad luck the first time. And then here's his second Indy 500 and it's another thing.
Yeah.
And I just felt kind of really bad for him. And it was just,
I don't know how many, just out of memory, I'd have to look at my notes, but I can think of at least 3 spins today that were just
On
like,
their own.
why did they spin?
Mhm.
Connors was a little different.
8 of them.
He
Hold
clipped the
on.
concrete,
1, 2,
but you had
3,
Pelot.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. So
Yeah.
you have in this order. Well, Davidson was the mechanical one. You have
Yep.
Marcus Ericsson. Then you have Dalton make a hit the wall. Dalton Kelton.
Yeah, unassisted. Yep.
You have Oliver Askew, which and that was unfortunate because he didn't know he didn't have enough time to stop because Connor Daly hit that apron and then spun out first.
Yeah.
Then Oliver Askew's behind him and he couldn't slow down and he said and he had to it was almost like he had to kind of take himself out or he was going to run into all the guys.
Yeah, I think it was a brake bias thing. I think he jumped, because it happened so quick. I think he jumped on the brakes and you could see him turn
right
and jump on the brakes.
Exactly.
And I think when he jumped on the brakes, it unloaded the rear and it just spun. But it was just at the point where he hadn't hit the brakes long enough to slow down. So he was probably still going 130 or so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it just spun and went smack into the wall and pancaked the wall.
He did
But again,
pancake the wall.
unassisted. Although that one, he kind of had an excuse.
No,
But-
he did, and that was unfortunate because
But like the other ones, it was just weird. It was just like
so then Alex Pelot hit the wall,
Same
and
thing. I mean, just
I
like-
got so upset. I was like,
got
"Ay,
loose
ay, ay."
and I'm in the wall.
Got loose. Yeah, Marcus Ericsson got loose. Alex Pelot got loose. Then you have Rossi. Rossi got loose and just hit that.
Yeah.
Hit the wall.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Rossi, or we can talk about him now. But it's like
Yeah. His whole situation.
his whole situation. He should have never been at the back. And then you have and then Spencer Piggott at the end. So you have
Same thing.
same
Unassisted spin. Yeah.
unassisted spin, and it was
Yeah. So it was a very strange day that way. I think the cars this year were on a more of a knife edge than they've been in the past. I think I just think they're a little more unstable than they have been in the past.
well, we have to remember too. This is the first year of the Indy 500 with the aero screen.
Sure.
We also have to remember that they haven't had enough practice because this whole season has been condensed because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
We all saw that at Texas Motor Speedway, right? That was like a
Texas
week.
was
Wild.
Yeah.
And then Iowa was a little bit wild too. And then you have Indy 500, which is the biggest of the ovals. So you have to take that into consideration too, that, the aero screen, it's going to it's going to
Yeah.
throw off the balance and everything else in the car.
And it takes a while to get engineering and different things, and
It does.
and again, Indy's different than any other track. Heat, it's August instead of May. It's a little bit warmer than it usually is. Wind, all those things. You know, Rhonda and I talk about this a lot because I'm always trying to, and you probably annoy her, but educate her, you know, all the little details, you know. And she's like, okay, I like the drivers, you know.
That's not true.
That's not just what Rhonda's about.
But you like certain
I do
drivers,
like
right?
the drivers.
But all those little details, casual fans, when you first start watching racing, that doesn't compute. All it computes is, you know, push the gas pedal and go faster.
Sure.
But there's so many little tiny things involved that's what I meant. I was kidding my beautiful wife here, but that's what I'm talking. When I'm trying to explain to her, like, well, the reason that happened is because the wing angle was, you know, 0.1 millimeters less than the last run, or the right front tire pressure was a little low. You know, all these little things and they're so balanced just on an edge that it doesn't take much. And today we saw that a lot, right?
We did.
So you had and Connor, poor Connor. I love Connor to death, Connor Daly, but it kind of wasn't his fault, but it kind of was. I forget who was outside him on that restart, but he was inside.
Fault, I think.
Yeah, pinched him down just a little bit, and Connor just barely, with like about 3 inches, just barely touched that concrete apron, just like Alonso did in practice.
That's what I was going to say. That's kind of what happened, and he touched it just.
Yeah. Well, and he said in his interview after the wreck, he said, it's like my left front hit a hole.
Yeah, that's so
But he touched
crazy.
that concrete, and the difference in adhesive and grip between, I'll do this for the camera here, but where the asphalt is and the concrete is, and you just at 220 miles an hour, and you just barely touch that concrete with the side of your tire, and it's just enough loss in grip to make that tire lose grip for a second, and boom, you've spun.
The amount of speed that they're going.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, and Connor said after he saw the replay, he said, "Oh, that was me. That was my mistake."
Yeah,
but then Askew got caught up in it. You know, it was not his fault.
And it was unfortunate for Oliver. Yep. I was really worried about him though, because it took him a while to get out of that car.
Smacked his knee, I think.
He was very kind of shaken up. He was totally well. I mean, obviously, because he hit that so hard.
Yeah, it was a hard hit.
Never good.
Yeah, it was a hard hit.
It was a hard hit. Okay.
But then things settled down after that for a while. Dixon's still out front leading, but then you two, your favorite guy, Alex.
Yep.
Was challenging Scott right around mid-race.
Right.
Lap 90 to 110 or so. I mean, they were neck and neck. They were actually swapping the lead back and forth.
Okay, wait, before we talk about Rossi, let's talk about, I want to talk about Rossi, but I want to say, you know, he had kind of a bad luck thing going already with his team, and his team, you know, they told him too late to pit. And do you remember he was in the middle of the battle?
Yes.
And he wobbled because he was like, do I pit? Do I not pit?
Yeah, that was a mechanical.
It was
technical error, right?
Yeah.
It was, but still, it was too late to do that, to tell him to pit. So then he already lost some seconds on Dixon. So then, you know, so that was kind of like, do you know what I mean? Like the bad luck of Rossi in this whole race. So then that happened, which wasn't good. Yeah. And then you have that pit stop with Sato, where that was completely his team's fault with the unsafe release. And he gets put to the back of the grid, which with 70 laps to go, you put Rossi in the back of the grid. I mean, and you know, I was joking on Twitter. I was like, "OMG, Raging Rossi's back, right?"
Yeah.
Because he was back. He was cutting through the field, trying to get up as much as he can, trying to do that. Yeah, because of the penalty, and then which is why I think probably the accident where he was just trying so hard and he just lost it on that.
Well, and that's a really good indication. We were talking about this earlier about how Indy is so different. There's so many pit stops. It's a long race. A lot of things can happen, and how things can snowball so quickly. You know, so with Rossi, and forget past years and all that's other stuff for the moment. But so today he was running up front, challenging Dixon, middle of the race, and they have, of all things, a radio overheat in the pit area, which causes them to lose communication, where normally when he's on the backstretch, they'd be saying pit this lap.
Right.
But he didn't hear that until he was in turn 4, and he tried to make the pit. He stood on the brakes and tried to make the pit entrance and couldn't make it, and then had to speed back up and come back around. So that's one. So you've got heat plus radio, communication. It all snowballs into that. And then they do the stop, and then they have the problem on the stop. And the problem on the stop was that the right rear tire changer, the nut fell off. So he reached down and grabbed another nut real quick and got it on. But that split second of the guy releasing the car, because you've got the guy on the left front or the right front holding him, because Indy has a very small pit lane. So you have to release them at a certain time, or else they will run into somebody.
Right.
And the driver can't see that. He's watching, the crew chief going, okay, go.
Right.
So the crew chief's watching the guy, and he's like, get the nut, but he doesn't have the nut, but he does have the nut. And he's got like a half a second to look down pit lane with cars roaring at you and check that he's got the nut on, and then tell him go. But then you can't tell him stop, So all those little things snowball. So then that snowballs into hitting Sato, which snowballed into the penalty, which put him in the back, which made him try harder, which made him wreck. So it's amazing how at Indy 1 or 2 little things can just blow it all up. Because he was fast. He was as fast as Dixon.
He was fast. He probably could have And then at the end of the race, did you hear him? He said, I'm going to have a long talk with someone. And I still don't know, because we don't know what that was about, but I'm guessing that could be about the fact that it was an inconsistent penalty, because I don't think that Ferrucci and Herta no one had a penalty there, did they? But they touched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I don't think any of those drivers got a penalty. But Rossi was penalized, and that's why he was upset, because it's like, well, you're not consistent.
Right. Yeah.
Because Ferrucci, there was a similar incident that happened with Ferrucci and Herta.
Exactly. It's a really difficult call. It's like in stick and ball sports, like calling a foul in the NBA. It's all judgment, and it's hard to be 100% consistent. And that's what he was talking about. You're right. He was talking about, I really want to go have a long talk with the race stewards and go, how is that a penalty?
Right.
If the other one wasn't a penalty, but does that mean that he should not have been penalized, or should he and the other guy's been? It's a really tough call. But the bottom line is they released him right in front of Sato, and he clipped Sato. So
I know.
It's a really, really difficult. It's one of those gray areas that's hard to quantify.
It is.
But the bottom line is it killed his race.
No, it did. It did. It killed it. That was it.
And he was, until Sato, really turned it up in the last 50 laps, he was really the only one that had anything for Dixon.
It's true.
Yeah. So, but it was fun to watch him, for about 10 laps swapping the lead. And I think they were kind of doing that on purpose. I think they were checking each other out. And it's funny because they were trying to save fuel. So whoever was in the front of those two would slow down a little bit. And then the guy behind had to be like, well, do I slow down and let third place come up my butt, or do I just go ahead and pass him? I don't really want to be in front of him. I want to be behind him. And then they kept doing that for like 5 laps. It was kind of fun to watch.
That was fun to watch, right? That part was, yeah.
So then once Rossi had all that mess, then we thought, well, Dixon's got it made now. I mean, he's faster than everybody. So it's a done deal. I even talked, I think I said to Rhonda, I said, because we were watching it together, and I said, if nothing bad happens, Dixon's going to win this race.
Yeah.
Right. I think I was expecting that too, just because he just had it all together. He was so consistent.
Well, he's just so, he and his team are just phenomenal. They
hardly
ever make a mistake.
They're so consistent. They're so consistent, race after race.
They're the Mercedes of IndyCar.
They are becoming that. They weren't that last year.
Yeah.
They weren't that way last year.
They had a few bobbles last year. Yeah.
They weren't that way. This is the first season that they've been so dominant, like such a strong Scott Dixon, just dominating so much. I've never seen
this
it like
year.
that.
Well, and plus you got to have luck too, and everything's gone right.
Everything's going right.
Just about everything's gone right for them, except today.
Except today.
So anyway, so we're all thinking, Dixon's going to cruise to the victory. Everything's fine. And then what happened? And then Sato went, well, I'm here too. Hello. And then Graham Rahal went, hey, I'm right behind him. And who else? It was somebody else.
Pato Award was in there too.
Pato Award was in there for a while. And even Ferrucci was in the top 5.
Ferrucci, yeah.
And we thought, wow, this is going to be awesome.
And Newgarden, I thought for a second, Newgarden, I was like, whoa, Newgarden could totally win it. I thought for a second.
Did you?
I did.
Think that.
Because
he had horsepower.
Well, not the horsepower, but I was thinking about the way it was playing out. I was like, well, because he was moving up, moving up, and then I was like, oh my goodness, if it keeps going like this, and then we have another one, and then this, he could by default kind of get in there.
I think he ended up. Did
Newgarden
ended up being the highest placing Chevy?
Yep, he was 5th.
Yeah,
and that's because Renus would have been the highest one, but Renus, made the poor Renus, he was doing so well. And then
all month practice,
in the pit,
quality.
He was doing so well, but he went in that pit stop, hit the wall, hit the crew members.
Yeah, thank God nobody was hurt. Number one,
nobody was hurt, thank goodness. But he made that mistake.
Yeah, you saw that, didn't you?
No, I didn't realize he hit the crew.
No, he came in for a pit stop, and he came in too hot and locked up the wheels and went in and hit the little pit wall there.
I saw him hit the wall.
And almost,
but he hit.
Yeah. Almost hit his crew members, which is a bad thing.
Gosh.
No, he did hit his crew members.
Yeah, but
Ed Carpenter talked about it, and they said that they said that they tweeted it that Renus VK did, but that the crew members are okay.
Yeah, they were all
fine. They're all fine. But
so then it was a super long stop because they had to pick the car up, and move it over, and do all that stuff. And then
if that wasn't bad enough,
and then he got a penalty for doing that, so he was 2 laps down, and he was done.
So that ended his race.
He was doing great.
He was doing so consistent, and he ended up 20th.
Yeah. Well, once you go two laps down, 20th is a win.
No, 20th is definitely a win.
Yeah.
At least he's in the points.
But it's a good illustration. All the rookies, the things you worry about with rookies, and especially at Indy, is making a rookie mistake. Well, he made a rookie mistake.
I worry about them getting hurt. I worry about them getting hurt.
Well, of course.
Yeah, they're young.
Well, sure, of course.
Sure.
Have no fear.
Yeah. Well, and Renus, he's had a couple of incidents earlier this year where he was quick butt. Like when he went to Texas and Ed Carpenter was just shaking his head. He was like, we told him not to do this. We told him not to do that.
Well, that was, but that's rookie stuff. But then in Iowa, Colton totally rammed into him.
Yeah, that was another different deal. Yep.
That was but that wasn't his fault. So,
well, Renus is quick. I mean, he's very quick.
Fast.
He's also known for, we need to temper his judgment a little bit. He needs to think a little bit more. He is a rookie. But you would much rather have a really, really fast rookie that you have to slow down than a slow rookie that you have to speed up.
I agree, 100%. I agree, and he's matured a lot, and I think he's shown that throughout the whole Indy 500 practice, quality, everything. He's been so great, and that was just so unfortunate when he had that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when he had that accident.
Up until then, the month was awesome. Practice was awesome. Quali, he did a great qualifying run, highest qualifying Chevy. Ran well today until that. I think easy top 10, maybe top 5 today until that.
And he has been maturing a lot. He's been listening to Ed. I had a chance to talk to him a couple times over the 2 weeks, and he did tell me that. He said he has been listening to Ed more. And it showed, and it totally showed. It showed through the practice and qualifying results. So, yeah.
Yep. Today was just a mistake. It's as simple as that.
It was a mistake.
He made a mistake, and it killed the race.
But But he's not the only one. Do you remember Sato
No.
did that in Texas Motor
Sure.
Speedway?
Sato
Remember,
ran
we
over
were
his
there
crew
when
in
we saw that.
Texas.
We were all there when
know.
last year. We were
Yeah.
all there watching it before our eyes, and
It's so and
that was
Indy's the
Sato
worst.
doing that.
Yeah, and Indy's the worst in the pits. You know, it's so
Right,
tight.
right.
The pit lane is so tight.
It is so
you know.
tight.
That's one thing I'm hoping Mr. Penske will do is try to widen that out somehow.
Okay.
So anyway, that was Remus's story.
That was Remus's
Alex
story.
Palou was doing fabulous.
He was
running
doing
top
fabulous.
10, and then
But
he spun.
he spun and hit that wall and pancaked.
But he did a great
too.
job all week. I mean, all month.
He has been, and I've been really impressed with him too. You know,
Yeah.
He's never driven an oval before an IndyCar, and I did get to, I talked to him, and because Tony Kanaan, I asked Tony TK about the rookies, and he said he was most impressed with Remus, then Alex, and then of course Dalton, because Dalton he's taken under his wing, but Alex Alex Palou sorry Palou. I keep pointing to say Palou, and it's not, it's Palou. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
But you know how I add my Mexicanness to everything.
Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca.
Oh,
Okay.
the chili pepper.
I digress.
Right.
I digress. But he's never driven on an oval before an IndyCar. And he just got in and did so well to not have that experience. And I asked him, because Tony TK said sometimes that rookie ignorance is a bliss kind of thing with the rookies. Like they don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. Right. He said he thinks that kind of helps these rookies out a little bit. And I asked him about that, and he goes, I don't know. And when I talked to him, you can see it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I talked to him for a second, but yeah, it's I love that kid. I like Alex a lot. The more and more I talk to him, the more and more I like him, the more and more I'm impressed with him, because he has been thrown into the series and has been adapting so well so quickly.
He really has. Yeah, he really has. Because when you say that, for people who don't know, most of these guys, even if they're a rookie in IndyCar, have run at Indy in Indy Lights or have run other ovals in other series in an open wheel car. Alex Palou came from Europe and Japan in open wheel cars, never having run an oval ever. Only run road courses, and an oval's a different animal. So totally for him to be that impressive, and the team that he's in, no offense, is good, but is not a top 3 team.
They're not. No,
and for him to run that well has been a big deal. He's showing a lot of people something. I predict big things for him.
Me too. Me too as well. And I just, like I said, I just really like him. And by the way, he lives in Austin. So
that's true. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he's our neighbor.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we have lunch. It's great.
Yeah, perfect. Sure.
So then what happened? So then it was kind of Dixon and Sato for a while. Then Sato seemed to pull ahead, and then we're looking at the last 20 laps like a shootout. And Sato's leading, but the whole time I'm thinking, Dixon's, he's a half a second behind. He's a second behind, but he's good. We found out after the race that Dixon was worried about fuel.
He was worried about fuel. He said that in the press conference.
Yeah, he did. He said, he said, I don't know. We were worried we thought they were going to run out because they pitted when we pitted, and our numbers showed that if we didn't slow down a little bit, we were going to run out.
Correct.
Excuse me. But then I think in those last 5 laps, Dixon would have just thrown caution to the wind and gone for it. But Sato was legit leading him. I mean, he was legit. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like Dixon was just way backed off, but he was thinking, I got to back off a little bit, but if it comes down to it, I'm going to go for it. But then the Piggott wreck happened.
But to be fair, and
that was scary.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, that was scary.
5 laps to go.
Just the way he hit.
It was. But to be fair on Sato, he passed Scott Dixon there, and then the yellows happened. So I feel like, and both Sato and Dixon both said in the press conference, they were like, well, you don't really go back and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. It happened.
Yeah, there's not much. Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Like you can't really say, oh, maybe I could have passed him. You just, it is what it is.
So you had lap 196. Pickett has a wreck, and
Pickett has a wreck.
It's luckily it appears that he's fine, although they did take him to the hospital for observation because he hit really hard. He hit right basically, for lack of a better term, in the driver's door, in the side, and he hit that attenuator. Although it's all rubber tires, he hit it going about 150 probably.
Yeah. He did.
And it was a hard, violent hit. And what you don't want to see in race cars is a race car hit something and in a millisecond go a different direction, or you want to see things. Actually, when you see parts fly off the car, that's a good thing because it's actually dissipating energy. When you see a car just flat pancake something and immediately bounce off it in a millisecond, that's a lot of G's. And hopefully he doesn't have he might have a concussion or something like that. Let's hope not.
Thank God there was no other car involved.
Yeah. And there was
no of course. Cause that was so scary.
Yeah.
And I will say that in the, press conference with Bobby Rahal and David Letterman, they both said, first of all, because people asked them, how does it feel to have another Indy 500 win, blah, blah, blah. How does it feel to have this? And they both were like, well, first of all, the first thing that went through our heads is Spencer okay?
Yeah.
They didn't even.
That's our driver, by the way.
No, right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget about that. But they both said, no, the first thing, both of them.
Of course.
Is Spencer okay? Is Spencer and okay, now we can celebrate. Because that was so scary. It was absolutely scary.
It was a hard hit. Both of those hits today his and Askew's were really oddly, they were uncharacteristic the way they happened, but they were hard hits. Very hard hits.
Thank God that the cars are safe.
Yeah.
Or safer.
Yeah. Back in, I think even Paul Tracy said with Pickett's, he said, thank God for the aero screen, because if those tires had hit his head, who knows, when they were exposed, when they used to be exposed.
And the response teams.
Yeah. They're awesome.
The response teams are amazing.
Indy's second to none. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Miss Rhonda and I were sitting here watching, and of course we're, is he okay? And he's moving around. So we're like, okay, that's good. And he got out and he was kind of hobbling. And the first thing I said, I turned to her and I said, they have to red flag this. They have to red flag this. They have to. Yeah. I was like yelling because we had 4 laps to go. It was on 196, actually 3.5. I said, they have to stop it and do a shootout. They just have to.
And what did I say? What's a red flag? I had no idea.
Yeah, she was. She's still so new.
I thought it was going to go yellow. They were going to clean it up and finish.
Yeah.
So I have something for you, Rick, because Kate, our director of communications at IndyCar, put this in the chat last minute for us to know. And so I will tell you about this.
Yeah. Do you have a statement?
I have a statement from IndyCar.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
That please see the below statement. Okay. IndyCar makes every effort to end races under green. But in this case, following the assessment of the incident, there were too few laps remaining to gather the field behind the pace car. Issue a red flag and then restart for a green flag finish. Right. So there's the answer to that.
And
why.
And I personally just disagree with them.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
No, you're allowed. You're allowed to. Of course you're allowed. No, I know.
I think
Go ahead.
In fairness to them, they have to make these calls. They've got corner workers. They've got people calling on the radio. They're up in the booth looking, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Exactly.
We got, how many laps do we have to go? How soon will it do? Is that attenuator broken? Is the driver okay? How soon can we get it? All these things have to happen in quickly 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not really cracking on them, but if they had immediately red flagged it instead of waiting a half a lap or a lap of yellow to make that decision, they would have had enough time to have a 2-lap shootout at the end.
That would have been fun.
Which, and again, I'm coming at this from a fan's perspective.
I know, I agree. I understand.
Fans want to see a green. I mean, they want to see the race end under green, especially when you've got Dixon stalking Sato for the win, right? And it was unfortunate. I really think they could have squeezed it in, but
did they wave the flag at the end? I don't remember.
Yeah, well, they just left it yellow, and they did 3 laps of yellow.
I saw that, but
waved the checker
they did. I didn't see that. I was mad.
Let me This is a rookie thing, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about races is that's a good thing. That's a good thing, babe.
Right.
That's true.
The thing about races is they're an advertised distance. You can't run the Indy 498. It's got to go 500 miles, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and it can't be the Indy 502 or the Indy 504. It's got to be the Indy 500. So
today it's the Indy 502 because I'm mad.
Well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
You should have called. I should have had you call Jay Fry and fix that right up.
Exactly.
But I'm just explaining that they can't just say, "Oh, we'll run a couple more laps," or "Oh, stop it now." You know, it has to go the advertised distance to be official. That's kind of a thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So they had that call at the end, and unfortunately, that was the call. I just wish it was a different call, and probably every fan does as well. Now, let me ask you this, Miss Mandy.
I agree.
If they had red flagged it,
okay,
and if there was a 2-lap shootout at the end, or let's say even 3,
okay,
could Dixon have caught Sato and got past him?
See, this is the coulda, shoulda, woulda.
But just let's coulda. In your opinion.
Yes.
She's thinking hard. Tick tock, da 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 da.
I don't know.
Da, da, da.
No, I'm gonna go with no because I think this was Sato's race to win. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna go with that because in the end, I think that he because Scott Dixon did say I was worried about fuel at the end, and I just think that it was Sato. I think Sato and his team did everything right consistently, and they would have continued to do it. And I think that he wouldn't have it in him to push so hard on those last 2 laps.
Yeah.
I think he would have had
Sato
to.
is notoriously hard to pass, number one.
He totally.
He has a very wide car. A little bit. Yeah, he has a very wide car, if you know what we mean. Well, look at what was it? The year that he almost won, and he was trying to pass. Was it Hunter Ray? Last few laps, turn 1, going underneath him and wrecked, or maybe it was Frank Keedy. Sorry, folks, I can't remember.
No, it's okay.
Get me some Prevagen. I'm old. But Sato's a go for it guy. We all know that he's going to go for it.
Of course.
So I think in the last 2 laps of the Indy 500 with Dixon trying to get past him, it would have been fun to watch. Would have been really fun to watch.
It would have been fun. Sato in the press conference said, "I like to live life on the edge." No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding.
He literally said that.
Yeah, you kind of do.
No, he does. I just think it was Sato's race to win. Yep. That's it. I'm just going to go with that because, and no offense to Dixon. I like Dixon so much, but I just didn't want Dixon to win. I'll tell you who I didn't want to win. I did not want Dixon to win or Pagenaud to win. Those were the 2.
Come on, man.
And I love Pagenaud. I love
Pagenaud. I thought there for a few minutes that he might.
Yeah, he was leading for a while, but it was a pit stop
thing. It was a thing. Yeah. And only because I wanted somebody else to win. It has nothing to do with the driver. It has everything to do with me just wanting variety.
I wanted a rookie to win.
I wanted a rookie to win as well.
Yeah, or Andretti.
The last rookie to win was Rossi, when he won. And so I am always rooting for the rookies, always 100%.
Sure.
So I wanted a rookie to win, obviously, but I just didn't. I was like, Scott's already winning so much this year.
Yeah.
I wanted to see something, a little bit of a variety. And I'm glad that it was Sato because, Sato's at the end of his, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but he's 40 years old and he's
43, isn't he? Yeah, he's toward the end of his career. Sure, you can say that.
Well, no, I don't want to say that because that's not true. But I was just going to say he's just a seasoned veteran driver and he's getting his second win now. And it's kind of like, boom, I just won my second one.
Yeah.
A second Indy 500. Yeah. And I think everybody kind of likes a comeback story, and it's a good comeback story.
Sure. Well, and also great for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing.
Absolutely.
Graham Rahal ran great all day. I would have loved to see Graham win it, but unfortunately, no. But ended up 3rd up front all day. The team has done a fabulous job. Great day for Honda. Honda dominated.
That's what I was going to say, that's consistently over the past 2 weeks. We actually had a Honda representative come into one of the press conferences and talk to us. I just want to say too that we waited that day after qualifying. We waited for a Chevy representative and we never got one.
Oh, yeah, sadly.
But Honda, they have been consistently working, they said, since Christmas, just the team, the Honda representative, they've been working so hard and it has shown, and it's really shown here at the Indy 500. And also, you know, Bobby Rahal just said, gosh, you know, they've just done so well. Honda has just done so well.
They did. They really showed up this year. Big time. It showed. I mean, it was across the board.
All year, they've just done all year, though, not just Indy 500, just all year. Honda has been doing so well.
Sure.
There's something to be said for that because, you know, and I don't know, you know, I was expecting Chevys to have it before we saw the first practice. I was expecting Chevys to have it because last year Chevys dominated the ovals, right? And I was like, here we're going to have another scenario where it's like Hondas are good on the road street courses, but but the Indy 500, all the ovals, Chevy's going to dominate. And that's not true, because I think Honda, they really this year they used whatever time they had to really get it together to make it happen, to develop a good engine.
It's like anything else. They did a better job this year, you know, and
there you go.
And
it shows.
The rules, you know, in Indy are so tight. You don't have a lot of wiggle room, so you got to really maximize every little thing. And they did a better job at it than Chevy this year.
They did.
You know,
I mean,
and Chevy will come back. They always do. Now, while we're on that, let's digress for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
A lot of talk about a particular Italian car maker possibly supplying engines to IndyCar.
I hope they do. I hope Ferrari does. Even Zach Brown, when we were talking to him, Zach Brown said he would love to see Ferrari come to IndyCar.
I think
great. Everybody wants for competition.
It would be great.
To have them come over. Absolutely. I welcome
everything.
The crossover.
Yeah.
Would be so amazing. I wish and I hope that it happens.
Yep.
So,
and also for you F1 fans,
yes,
throw out another nugget for you F1 fans.
Right.
Did you see the post of Mr. Penske driving around
with
Jean Todt? Who is I don't know his official title, but he's the head of the FIA.
He's the head of the FIA.
Right.
FIA honcho
of the facility, the new upgraded Penske-owned facility. So, and I know this in some ways at least annoys and somewhat angers some European fans, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend, but we don't want to take any races away from them, but having 2 races in the U.S. would be phenomenal for F1.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Definitely. Especially after this year when they took COTA away from us.
Well, that's all.
Look at me.
No, wait a minute. COVID took COTA away from us.
Okay, COVID did. Seriously, COVID.
And Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and Laguna Seca too.
I know.
COVID. Stupid COVID.
Stupid
COVID.
I want to kill that COVID.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so great day for Honda. Great day for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. That was awesome. One little thing I'll throw out here that was not a great day, and we never, after driver intro, I don't think we ever heard the name again, was one Mr. Fernando Alonso.
Okay, and sorry.
Not so good. Ended up 20-something, 26 or something.
So, okay, and I see your note.
Month.
Okay, so I saw your note there with not a good month. That's not entirely true. I'm going to go ahead and say just during practice before he crashed, he was running the top Chevy even faster than Renus. And that crash didn't help him out. I think he would have been at least in the top 10 had he not crashed that car during practice.
Maybe not. Maybe so.
No, I know for a fact because Pato O'Ward was up there, and that's the same team. And Pato O'Ward's car was great. He was running the fastest out of Pato and Oliver Askew. And McLaren has worked so hard this year to deliver such a great car for him. And when he crashed, I mean, you know this, you have your secondary car, you're going on your secondary car. It's not going to be the same. And it's not going, you're not going to, even though they've had time to work on it, it's still, the more you, it's kind of like this, the more and more you work on that car, right? The more and more your competitors are working on their first car. So it's like you're always a step behind.
It can be that way. Yeah, it can be that
it's
way.
like you're a step behind.
Yeah.
So I don't think he ever was able to.
Though. Self-inflicted.
So he wasn't able to catch up, and it's sad, and I'm upset. Not at Alonso, not at whatever, but at Renault, because they made him do a Yeah. Here it goes, guys. Here it goes. You didn't expect that, did you?
Oh, come on. You
didn't expect that. It's coming. Renault, look at me. I'm mad at you guys because you signed Alonso into a 2-year contract where he cannot come to IndyCar. And I'm mad.
Well, there's only one person well, there's 2 people that signed that contract.
I know, but
right.
I'm having my moment.
He didn't
guys.
read the fine print.
Oh, he didn't know. Okay,
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
But it was self-inflicted at Indy. You got to admit, he's the one that touched the concrete and found out.
I know.
No.
Of course, that was his. Yep. Of course, that was his mistake.
Yep.
And
I'm not anti-Fernando Alonso at all.
Oh, I
I
know.
would love to see him run up front.
It is what it is.
But it did not work out this year.
It did not work out for him.
So we'll see him in a couple of years. After he goes to Renault for 2 years and runs mid-pack for 2 more years and gives up F1, he'll come back to Indy.
And I'm still upset because it's like, I really want Alonso to come to IndyCar. You know this. I really want him. Cool. I wonder what and I still debate on this with him. Like, I wonder what is his motivation with Renault, because you've already been there, done that. You've already had 2 Formula 1 championships. Why not come to Aero McLaren SP, who have already proven themselves this year. What an amazing team they've already been doing. You have a chance to win an IndyCar championship, but you'd rather go to Renault
for a lot less money. Although I know he doesn't need the money, but
I don't think it's that. I think he just.
What's Renault going to pay him? $20 million a year. What's IndyCar going to pay him? 2? 4?
You think it's about the money with him?
I think it's part of it.
I think he just likes that paddock lifestyle.
Yeah, I think when you've been in F1 your whole career and you have a chance to stay, and if you don't take that chance, you're probably gone for good.
Okay.
And I think he still has something to prove.
Maybe I guess
we'll do a whole nother show about that.
We will.
We'll do the Fred show. So there you have it. Your Indy 500 champion, Takuma Sato.
Pretty good
recap by us, the race fans.
By the way, one thing though. Oh, good.
Covered all the big stuff.
Oh yeah, the big stuff.
Covered all the big stuff. Yep,
we did.
Now, rest of the season, we'll just touch on this briefly before we go. But so next week next weekend, back-to-back doubleheader at Gateway, and then roll it in toward the end of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot the schedule because it's
so we're already on to the next. Yeah, it's compressed.
The next theme.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say something real quick that I thought was really sweet. So the message in the bottles that the drivers have been doing.
Yeah.
So Sato said, a journalist asked him, "What was your message in a bottle?" And he said he's racing for the kids. And I thought this was really.
Yeah, there was something I didn't quite understand that. Something about a charity or some children.
But it's mainly because, with Takuma Sato, he didn't grow up racing. He grew up with that 2-pedal, like doing bikes.
He was a bicycle racer.
Yes, and he said he was kind of racing too for kids to have that passion and so they can look up to IndyCar drivers and be inspired. And I thought that was really cool and very humbling of him for him to say that.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy, and he kept saying how lucky he was. The whole time in the conference, I'm just lucky. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. And I thought that was.
Yeah, somebody asked him, "Did you ever think you'd win? 2 Indy 500s?" He's like, "I didn't think I'd even get in Indy 500."
Right? I know.
Yeah,
so
that's not the right accent that I just used, but
No.
Miss Rhonda, as a quote unquote, we're still going to call you a rookie a little bit longer.
Rookie, yeah.
But did you have any other impressions from the day before we leave?
No, I thought it was an amazing day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You enjoyed?
I very much enjoyed it. It's pretty funny. I told him, Rick, put it on pause real quick. I have to go use the restroom. You should see the look on his face. I was teasing. I was totally teasing.
Like we do when we're watching a TV show or a movie.
Yeah,
of
She'll go like,
course.
"Put it on pause. I'm sure,
I'll be
sure,
right
no
back."
problem.
I've done
She's
that
during
before.
any like, no.
I did that before on one of the F1 races. I was just like, I have to pause. I'm like, I can't pause this.
Yeah. Well, she asked. I gave
You're
her.
so
I gave
used
her
to
this.
it.
Here, guys. I gave her this.
Yeah, the look. The look.
No.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great, except for, the red flag.
Except for the red flag
Yeah.
and
I
your
know,
your
I know,
your,
I know,
your
I
boy Renus and your boy
I know.
Alexander
And Colton.
and Colton had a quiet day.
Quiet day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Colton did have a
Mhm.
quiet day.
Yeah, he did. But I still
Yeah.
love all those guys.
No, of course.
They're
Well,
gonna
of
do great.
course.
We got next weekend.
That's right. We're on to Gateway next weekend.
Yep.
All right. Well, there
Um,
we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed our recap. And please, again, follow us on at RaceFanHeaven on Twitter, RaceFanHeaven on Facebook. Go to our website and sign up for our email list. I promise you we're going to start sending you some cool stuff. Follow Mandy. Mandy has all kinds of cool stuff, interviews, Instagram stuff. She's our video gal. Follow her at
Mandy CTV, Mandy Curry, MandyCuri on Instagram. Oh, and then Mandy CTV on YouTube.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you, guys. We hope you enjoyed the recap. Again, hope you enjoyed the race. Reach out to us. Give us a little chat. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It would be really cool to hear what you would like to hear in the future from us. We, of
Right.
course, this was an all Indy show, but we talk a lot of F1 as well. We talk some NASCAR. We talk all kinds of stuff, but Indy 500, that's our big one. So our Christmas is over. It's now our Christmas night where we sit around and eat leftovers and get fat on the couch and open our presents, and all our presents are open, and now it's no more.
Oh
just
my gosh.
fall asleep.
Okay.
Wine.
But there is always next year.
That's true.
All right, guys. We love you. Thank you for
Bye.
listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.